This is my hometown, McBee, South Carolina. You can always tell when someone's not from here because they say McBee, but if you live here, it's McBee. It's a quiet town. But there are plenty of unique and interesting things about this tiny town. It has a library that was once a train depot, and part of it has been converted into a railroad museum. Cool. In fact, the only reason this town was established was because of the railroad. There's even a train on the welcome sign. But this isn't about trains, so let's keep rolling. McBee lies almost directly between Myrtle Beach and Charlotte, North Carolina. And you'll soon find out why that's important. The town limits are only 1 square mile, so it's quite small to say the least. Generations of people have lived here and died here. But there's one family whose 94 years in business here would put this town on the map.
Moving to the country, I'm gonna eat a lot of peaches. I'm moving to the country, I'm gonna eat me a lot of peaches. I'm moving to the country, I'm gonna eat a lot of peaches. I'm moving to the country, I'm gonna eat
Well, great-great-granddaddy moved from North Carolina to Georgia for 1 year and started storing Georgia and came back up here and started in 1916. And the reason they decided to come right here is because the train comes through from Florida through Washington, D.C. and New York. And this is the highest point on the seaboard coastline right here. So this is a big train town. They could pick crop and they could put them on the train. They could be in the big city the next day and have a good market. You know, kind of evolved from that to great-granddaddy, and then they built Highway 1. The train was here first, and then they had Highway 1, and so it actually followed the railroad track.
The facility that Mr. McLeod is referring to is actually now a packing plant for the company, and is located just north of McBee town limits. This is also where their offices are located. This tiny fruit stand is the first stand the McLeods opened on a highway. Despite its modest size, the stand was a major success for the family.
It's always a challenge when you set records, and this year is probably one of the hottest summers.
Baltimore, New Bern, Charlotte, and Florence all set record highs yesterday of 90 degrees, and Columbia, South Carolina set a new record high of 92.
And next year might be one of the cooler summers, and the next year might be the driest summer. And then you have a hurricane like Hugo, and it blew up trees and blew all the fruit off the tree. And you know, if Hugo had hit when we had these late peaches now, they'd be all on the ground. So and you have hail that comes, and of course we've got hail cannons.
Wait, what'd he say?
And you have hail that comes, and so of course we got hail cannons.
Yeah, you heard him. Hail cannons. Let me explain. A hail cannon is a pseudo-scientific device that acts as a shockwave generator. An explosive charge of acetylene gas and air is fired into the lower chamber of the machine. It causes a shockwave that then travels at the speed of sound through the cloud formations above, a disturbance which manufacturers claim disrupts the growth phase of the hailstones.
We're trying to be consistent even though the weather might not let us be consistent. And so that's been kind of the hallmark. The next thing we've done successfully on the farm is value-added products, which means that we've taken our crops and have them like agritourism or a museum or ice cream, or that's adding value to what we already do, and so that brings people here to actually buy our goods here.
Added value is an understatement. This is the first time I had been in a museum, but I was in awe of all the wonderful antiques that were inside. They had a little bit of everything. They had antique cars, tools, farm equipment, and even a few musical instruments. I wandered around for a while just looking at everything. Check out the headlines in these newspapers. I wanted to know more, so I talked to the curator, if you will.
Camel got most of his hand tools down in Darlington, South Carolina. It's an auction, and that's a real popular place to get antiques and old working material and tools. And the cars, they came from different parts of the world, USA. We do have one car from Canada in here. We got a 1930 Lincoln. It's a V8 engine in it, and it's a convertible, but this car came from the factory with fuel injection. And we have a 1955 Chevrolet. This guy was Jack Sowell. He worked the car over himself, got it working good, looking good, and he got sick a little bit later and passed on. I'm assuming that Camel bought it from his wife. I'm not sure of that, but I'm assuming that's what he did.
I really can't express how much historical and just really cool stuff was out there in that warehouse. It is definitely a collection of items to be admired.
So we've done 2 or 3 things. We try to be more consistent, and also we try to do added value to what we're doing, and all that has helped us be successful over the last few years. I'm glad that we are. We've got people that that rely on us for jobs, and we're no better than anybody that works for us. In other words, I can't do it all, and I rely on everybody to help us. So it's not just McLeod Farms or McLeod, it's everybody working together to make a crop. And having said that, can we come out making $1? Then I hope so, because it has been a year of extremities.
Despite extreme weather, McLeod Farms continues to grow. They now offer a wide variety of jams, jellies, and ciders. They have cobbler, baked goods such as cakes and breads, and they even make their own fudge and peanut butter. And if it wasn't enough that you can come here to get all your peaches by the basket or by the box, they recently made a new addition. Biggs Meats and More is a restaurant out back that offers burgers and steaks, along with the option to buy your cuts of meat just like a butcher shop, and then take them home and cook them yourself. Now it makes sense for someone like me who grew up in the area to frequent the stand, but I discovered that people from all over were fascinated by the farm.
Okay, my name is Ted Stover. We go to the beach 4 times a year. We travel this old 151. We've been stopping here for 20 or 30 years. The store kicks off. I keep myself getting bigger and bigger. I love the peach cobbler. I love the blackberry cobbler. It just feels like home stopping here. I also love that museum in the back and the restaurant back there. We've been back there and enjoyed that.
My name is Berger, Joe Berger. Yeah, we started coming down to the beach in the 70s, I don't know. But every time we came, we come by this way so we could stop by and get some peaches and ice cream. So all of our friends, we go down and 5 couples of us go down every year. Some of them go the interstate. I said, no, we got to go back the other way.
I'm John Cruswell. That's Evan Cruswell, my wife.
How long have you been coming to McLeod Farms?
15 to 20 years at least. We always stop and get the peaches, the fruit. This is where we get our fruit from Myrtle Beach. It's always been good and wonderful peaches, ice cream and everything.
The extent of what McLeod Farms has to offer doesn't even end there. They have a few more things up their sleeve.
We do, corn mazes, and we do doing school tours now, and it's sort of like running a mom and pop store. You got to be here at 7/24s. But I like doing what I do, and I think it's some value to tell folks about what we're doing. And one highlight for me is to show the young people about what farming's about, because you just don't open the refrigerator and pull it out the refrigerator and eat it, because somebody's got that sweat and think and plan ahead to have that crop out there in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't automatically grow on the tree and produce.
Every year's a new
Every year is a little different story.
Every day's a new day.
Every year is a different story, and the storyline you used last year won't work for this year because you got to modify.
You got to rethink it.
Yeah, rethink. All right.
Even though I spent a large majority of my life only miles away from this place, I went there and seen some things I never seen. Met some really nice people, and even learned a little about farming. So the next time you're up near McBee, visit McLeod Farms. You'll be glad you did.